the difficult thing to accept is that they are nonetheless in some sense authentic, which is why, in contrast to my friend Alain Badiou, who, although he is very much pro-Plato, claims that now maybe the time has come to reverse Plato's condemnation of poetry and to enact a reconciliation between poetry and thought. No, I don't trust poets. Okay, I do, but not quite. My experience from my own country, as you mentioned, ex-Yugoslavia, is that, to cut a long story short, beneath every ethnic cleansing, there is a poet. That is to say, take this in quite naive way, which is, we are, most of us, and I don't trust human nature, I'm very misanthropic, but somehow most of us have some minimum of decency. Like, no matter how evil I ever try to be, if somebody were to tell me I should kill you by first with a knife, sticking out your eyes or whatever, I would have maybe finally done it, but with some problems. So, the function of ideology, of these poetic narratives we are telling of, is precisely to put us in some kind of ecstatic, passionate state where we can do it. And for this, you need poets. Religious men, but also poets. It's more than a joke then, as we all know, although he's now today half forgotten, that Radovan Karadzic, the leader of Bosnian Serbs, is also a poet. In a typical hypocrisy, now that he is arrested as a criminal, they mock him as, what kind of a poet? I have evil memory. Am I old enough to remember that 25 years ago, many Slovene poets were translating him into Slovene, taking him very seriously and so on. Furthermore, in all other post-Yugoslav, now sovereign states, republics, you find other people who were, of course, not so harsh as Karadzic, but nonetheless, with their poetry, they were laying the spiritual foundations. I don't mean this in any idealist sense, but simply doing what Hegel calls that invisible underground work of a mole, changing the spirit of times, basically preparing people to be ready for war, for mass killing, and so on and so on. For this, I'm not saying that this is the truth of poetry. Poetry can also function in a totally different way. But a certain mythic character of poetry as describing, founding the destiny of our nation, and so on, believe me, beneath every ethnic cleansing you find a poet. For example, it interested me Rwanda. What happened there? And of course, I did found there was a local literary journal, a big poet who was, in a way, preparing the terrain for all this for decades, the hatred among Hutus and Tutsis and so on and so on. So you see, to put it in another way, to return to my metaphor, sorry, not metaphor, but example, the problem is this one. Today, how to get people to do these horrible things. You cannot do it. It's not as, these cheap explanations. Yes, people in a crowd behave in a different way and so on and so on. What we experience in ex-Yugoslavia is the same thing that shocked the entire world in Germany. How is it possible that such a cultivated nation and so on descends to such barbarism? I think the only proper answer to this question is that it doesn't really descend in the sense that all of a sudden, they like to use sometimes this metaphor. You prove that you see how our civility is just a fragile surface and it can at any point be torn apart, and then our quasi-animal brutality enters the stage. No. We should look precisely at that, what appears as civility, culture, and so on, and see that how foundation is laid for the most brutal violence. And again, as I've written in some of my other books, here you can well go to the end by the end, I mean how not even the innermost authentic mystical or whatever experience is any guarantee against the possibility that you will be in real life doing some horrible things. From great Christian mystics to my favorite example, I always like to mention it, in view of the popularity of what we usually refer to as what I ironically call Western Buddhism, is some of you, if you are old enough, probably not, may remember the guy, D.T. Zizek Suzuki, who was in the 60s in the hippie area, popular all around as the main source of insight into Zen Buddhism. But there is another story to be told on him. This same person in the late 30s and early 40s was fully part of Japanese war propaganda, celebrating the invasion of China and so on and so on. And it wasn't simply that on the one hand he was a Zen Buddhist thinker, on the other hand, unfortunately, a militarist. No, the horror is how he used his Buddhist insights to justify killing. Exactly what I told you, how the problem is, I am relatively, I wouldn't be too sure, but it's on surface at least, decent person, so how should I, sorry Julie, I'm picking on you, but somebody has to be the victim, you as a stay with me on you. How could I, take a knife and stick out your eyes, no? Suzuki has an answer. He literally confronts this problem. He says, of course, ordinary soldiers, when you are face to face with an enemy, you have to stick your knife into it or shoot him, you have a problem, especially in that moment of personal contact. And he says, it's horrible in a way, he says, Zen Buddhism can be of great help here. His idea is this one, that if you remain caught in the illusion of your ego as autonomous and reality, then of course you experience the situation of me sticking a knife into you as me being an agent doing something. This of course is difficult. But then he says, if you reach Buddhist enlightenment, then you no longer experience yourself as a responsible agent of your acts. This is the description. He says, let's say I have a knife to stick you. No, it's I become an impassive, totally neutral observer, not even observer. It's what in Buddhism it's usually called thoughts without a thinker. I am thoughts without a subject, and I observe myself in a totally objectivized way, as a kind of a dance of spectral multiple apparitions. I see my hand moving, and in this cosmic dance, I see you somehow, unfortunately, falling and then, no problem. I mean, I'm outside these false problems, am I the agent, and so on and so on. Now, I'm not making here fun of Zen Buddhism. First, in the West, many Catholics were even better, more brutal at this job. I'm precisely mentioning Zen Buddhism as one of undoubtedly authentic mystical experiences. I mean, when they talk about overcoming yourself, they are not bullshitting, like they really practice it. But you see how even that can justify horrible things. This was for me always traumatic. And I think Hannah Arendt was on the trace of this with her well-known thesis about the banality of evil. But it's not only banality, it's even a cultivated nature of evil. For example, it's not only Eichmann types, these ordinary bureaucrats who can plan horrors. For me, what is much more horrible is Eichmann's boss, Reinhard Heydrich, who planned the Holocaust. It's so difficult to accept that in the evenings after doing the work, he liked to meet with his 3-4 colleagues. He was a very good violin player, and they formed a string quartet, and they liked to play especially late Beethoven's